Hello everyone, I'm Dudu. Why do I feel we call over after ejaculation? Many men have experienced weakness all over after ejaculation. There are complex physiological and psychological factors behind this phenomenon. Understanding the reasons can not only help men better understand their own physical condition, but also help maintain reproductive health. From a physiological point of view, the ejaculation process itself is an energy-consuming process. During ejaculation, the male reproductive organs, pelvic floor muscles, and multiple systems of the whole body are involved. The strong contraction of muscles, especially the pelvic floor muscles, and the rapid activity of nerve conduction all require a lot of energy. Just like a high-intensity sports exercise, the body's energy is consumed in a short period of time, and the blood sugar level will drop, resulting in fatigue. Moreover, during ejaculation, the human body will secrete a series of hormones, such as dopamine and adrenaline. Dopamine can bring pleasure and satisfaction, but at the same time, as the levels of these hormones change rapidly after ejaculation, the body will enter a relatively relaxed, refractory period. At this stage, the body's metabolism and nervous system will self-regulate, which may cause short-term fatigue and weakness. In addition, the prostate also plays an important role in the ejaculation process. Under normal circumstances, the prostate is involved in the composition and the ejaculation process of semen. If there is potential inflammation or other lesions in the prostate, the contraction and activity of the prostate during ejaculation may aggravate local discomfort and inflammatory reactions, which in turn affect the peripheral nerves and tissues, leading to systemic fatigue symptoms. For example, patients with chronic prostatitis may experience discomfort such as swelling and pain in the perineum in addition to general weakness after ejaculation. In addition to changes in body energy and hormones, the conversion of excitement and inhibition of the nervous system is also an important reason for general weakness after ejaculation. During the sexual excitement period, the nervous system is in a highly excited state, and the excitement of the sympathetic nerves causes faster heartbeats, higher blood pressure, and rapid breathing. After ejaculation, the nervous system quickly switches from an excited state to an inhibited state, and the parasympathetic nerves begin to dominate. This rapid transition of the nervous state will cause the body to feel tired and sleepy, making people feel we call over. Psychological factors should not be ignored either. For many people, sex life is not only a physiological behavior, but also carries psychological pressure and emotional investment. If there are emotions such as tension, anxiety during sex, or if there are too high expectations for one's performance, then after ejaculation, as the excitement fades, psychological fatigue will quickly emerge, aggravating the symptoms of physical. For example, some men worry that they cannot satisfy their partners before sex, or are distracted during sex due to work and life pressures, and are more likely to feel physically and mentally exhausted after ejaculation. In addition, the individual's physical fitness and living habits will also affect the state after ejaculation. Men with poor physical fitness and lack of exercise are more likely to experience obvious weakness after ejaculation. Because their bodies have insufficient energy reserves, they have weak recovery ability when dealing with ejaculation, a relatively energy-consuming process. Bad living habits such as staying up late for a long time, overwork, and malnutrition will further weaken the body's functions and make the symptoms of weakness after ejaculation more prominent. For example, late to work are in a sub-healthy state and often feel more exhausted after ejaculation. Repetitive sex, that is, the behavior of having sex multiple times in a day or a night, can also be understood as excessively frequent sex. No matter from which angle, repetitive sex is not good for physical and mental health, and may even induce some sexual dysfunction. What are the hazards of repetitive sex? Impact on physical and mental health for both husband and wife. It will cause a lot of physical exhaustion. If it continues for a long time, it will lead to a decline in physical fitness and immunity, and it is easy to get sick. In addition, there will be some mental problems, and there will be a decline in thinking ability and memory, and the analytical ability will not be as good as before. Sexual dysfunction, repetitive sex, due to the continuous and repeated occurrence of sexual impulses, will cause a serious burden on the sex control nerve center and sexual organs for both men and women. Long-term fatigue will cause extremes, which will cause sexual dysfunction and sexual dysfunction. Ejaculation disorder men who often repeat sex will have a phenomenon of prolonged ejaculation time, because the second ejaculation of sex will be longer than the first ejaculation, which can easily induce impotence and premature ejaculation and prolonged ejaculation time. There may even be no pleasure in sex and sexual indifference. Sexual dysfunction is caused by a period of inactivity after sexual intercourse, which means that men will not respond to sexual stimulation for a period of time after sexual intercourse. However, frequent and repeated sexual intercourse will prolong the inactivity period and make sexual dysfunction more likely to occur, inducing reproductive organ diseases. Men who frequently and repeatedly have sexual intercourse will cause repeated congestion and swelling of the reproductive organs. If this continues for a long time, it will induce male diseases such as prostatitis and seminal V. Vesicolitis, which will not only cause discomfort in the genitals, but also backache and even hematospermia. Women who frequently and repeatedly have sexual intercourse will have their sexual organs in a state of congestion, which will induce pelvic congestion, which is what we often call pelvic congestion syndrome, and will often cause backache and other discomfort symptoms, inducing sexual dysfunction caused by mental factors, regardless of whether men or women have repeated sexual intercourse. The degree of sexual satisfaction is much worse than the previous sexual satisfaction. So it is easy to have psychological shadows and think that there is a problem with their sexual ability, which will eventually lead to sexual dysfunction caused by psychological and mental factors.